Good morning, Laguna. Hey, welcome to another episode of Wake Up Laguna, where we explore the wisdom that awakens the soul. I'm your host, Rick Jorgensen, and today we're diving deep into the transformative power and love and forgiveness in my first hour. If you've been holding on to pain, resentment, or anger, this episode might just be the key to unlocking the peace and freedom that you've been searching for. And before we really dive deeply into that, I'd like to start the show off, as always, with 5-minute guided meditation for gratitude, what you're grateful for. So again, if you're in a safe space, meaning you're not driving your car, if you are driving, that's fine. Just kind of take this in, let it wash over you. But if you're in a safe space, get comfortable. Get into a comfortable meditative position. Seated is best, but you can also do it laying down. And just take this in. Let it guide you through this meditation for gratitude. It's a great way to anchor your day. And so let's kick off the show with this meditation. And I'll be back with you right on the other side.
Hello, and welcome to this quick guided meditation to slow down and be grateful. I'm Sarah Raymond with The Mindful Movement. I'm grateful you have joined me today. It is so easy to become swept up in the seemingly relentless demands of a busy life. In doing this, you might find that you lose focus on the present, or you might feel as though you don't have the time to stop and appreciate life's gifts. It is true that meditation is a practice, and it can create change when you make the time to practice it. But even when you are short on time, it is important to prioritize what matters most. You can always find time to be mindful, even if just for a few minutes. You might find that closing your eyes to tune out the outside world for a moment makes it easier to bring your awareness inside. So you may choose to close your eyes now. And let's begin this practice with some gentle breathing. Notice the rhythm of your natural breath. Take in a slow breath and experience the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Our breath is constant and reliable. It tethers us at all times to the present moment. Just by tuning in to the steady rhythm of your breath, you are immersing yourself in the energy of life, the energy that propels you forward and connects you to all other life on this planet. Observe whether your mind is in another place or if it is here right now. Can you allow yourself to let go of your thoughts for a moment? Can you allow your mind to be silent, except for hearing the sound of your breath? Now, notice where you are carrying tension in your body. Can you allow your clenching muscles to let go? Ask yourself, how do you feel in this very moment? Can you sense the peaceful energy of life flowing through you, invigorating you with every breath? You are the embodiment of this lively energy. Your body is a miracle and a gift, the vehicle through which you have the privilege of experiencing this beautiful world. Take a moment now to find something or someone to appreciate. Sense the feeling of gratitude within you. And send it outward to the world around you. In a moment, you will open your eyes and come out of this state of stillness and peace. But do your best to move forward with your day with a residual feeling of gratitude. As you continue on with your day, I challenge you to continue cultivating gratitude. Perhaps you can even find something positive out of an experience that seems negative at first. Now, we will end this practice with a deep breath, breathing in love and breathing out eternal appreciation. Thank you for practicing with me today. I am grateful that you did. I hope you have a joyful day.
That was beautiful, as always. Great way to start our morning here on Wake Up Laguna. Great way to start your morning just in general. That's certainly the way I always start my morning. 5-minute meditation, gratitude, focus. So, as promised, today's show is really going to be focused on, or at least the first hour of today's show is going to be really focused on the transformative power of love and forgiveness. And as I said, if you're holding on to that pain, your resentment, that anger, this episode really just might be the key to helping you unlock the peace and freedom that you're searching for. So if we look at the energy of love, let's start with that. Love is the highest vibrational frequency that we carry. It connects us, it heals us, and it expands our hearts. But it's not just about romantic love. Love is the force that reminds us all that we're connected. It's compassion, it's acceptance, it's kindness, both towards others and, very importantly, ourselves. How often do we truly allow ourselves to live in love? Can you imagine the energy shift in your life if every action, word, and thought was rooted in love? Powerful, powerful place to live, wouldn't it? Wonderful place to live. Now let's talk a little bit about forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't about condoning the actions of others or forgetting what's happened. It's about releasing ourselves from the chains of bitterness. When we hold on to resentment, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to feel the effects. True forgiveness frees us, allowing love to flow again. And here's something very powerful to remember. Forgiveness is more for you than for the other person. Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. Forgiveness is more for you than for the person you're forgiving. But how do we forgive when it feels impossible? Start small. Begin by acknowledging the hurt. Feel it fully, then ask yourself, am I willing to release this pain? Sometimes forgiveness is a process. It might take days, months, or even years, but each step forward is a step closer to freedom. And don't forget to forgive yourself. Most importantly, don't forget to forgive yourself. Often the hardest person to forgive is the one in the mirror. I've got something to share with you now on the topic of forgiveness. Very powerful episode from David Bayer, track from David Bayer, one of my favorite spiritual and personal transformation teachers. I want to share this with you. And in this track, David is exploring the transformative power of forgiving one's father. And he's emphasizing how unresolved resentment towards parents can block personal growth. So I want you to spend some time, take this in. We'll talk a little bit more about it on the flip side. But just take this in. And then afterwards, I've got an amazing meditation, guided meditation on forgiveness and love that I think will really resonate with you guys. So let's have David jump in here, really talk about forgiveness.
Today we're going to be talking about forgiving dad. And it may sound like a pretty straightforward, not too sexy conversation, but this is perhaps the biggest breakthrough you can have in your personal growth. If you know you're being blocked by your limiting beliefs, you're wanting to have more joy in your life, you're wanting to create more powerfully in your life, I'm telling you, the next level of growth comes from forgiveness for dad. Now, you may say, Dave, I don't need to forgive my dad. I grew up in a great family. My dad was an awesome guy. Here's the thing. Having had over 10,000 coaching conversations, every single person has resentment towards their parents. In this episode, we're talking about dad. And you don't need to have 10,000 coaching conversations to know that every human being has resentment towards their father. You just have to understand how a human being functions, which is as children and we come into the world, we expect an unconditional love from our parents. But we're seeking unconditional love from people who have a lot of conditions. So whether it's their job, whether it's the relationship that they have with mom, whether it's the fact that they're co-parenting and they're a single parent, health challenges that they're having, their own unprocessed trauma, we're born to conditional beings. And so in those conditions, we perceive neglect and we give meaning to that neglect or those gaps where we're not getting what it is that we want. And so that over time forms into a resentment. And I'm seeing more and more and more that forgiving your parents is absolutely essential to personal growth. And if you've been in personal growth for a while, this isn't your first rodeo, and you have been struggling with certain limiting beliefs to let them go, you're aware of them, but you just keep thinking the same thoughts, you keep having the same experiences. I'm willing to bet the farm. I don't have a farm, but if I did, I'd bet the farm on it. That related to those hard to let go limiting beliefs is a resentment that needs to be transformed into a forgiveness. And resentment is not just, a concept. What I'm going to be sharing with you in terms of how your limiting beliefs get attached and corded to resentments is backed by psychology. It's backed by neuroscience. And this is really a little known secret in personal growth. So I'm going to start with a story, and that was the third event that I ever did. So back in 2019, I had the biggest event that we had ever done for our seminar, the Powerful Living Experience Live. And I had asked my dad if he would come to the event, and my dad came. And the relationship I had with my dad was I always looked up to my dad, highly intelligent. He was an attorney, successful at work. Whenever I had a challenge, I went to my dad, and I wanted my dad to be proud of me, like I think a lot of us do. And so as I transitioned out of my old life in entrepreneurship as building internet-based businesses and into this new life of helping people, and as the event grew, we had 350 people at our first event, 550 people at our second event, 800 people at this event that my dad came to. I really wanted to show my dad that, I had become a success. I wanted him to be proud of me. And so my dad came to the event, And my dad is my dad. My dad was like, hey, I don't really want to work these processes with these people who are here to get some help. I don't really need any help. Can you just put me a chair in the back of the room? So we put my dad in a chair behind the back row. But what happening was more and more people kept pouring into the room. We had so many people at this event, way more than we expected, that we had to keep moving him back and back and back. So finally he's against the back wall and he's enjoying and watching the event. And during lunchtime of day one, I was outside getting a little bit of sunshine and my dad came out, and I had invented in my head that, my dad was going to be like, wow, I'm blown away. This is amazing. Like, I'm so proud of you. This is just so incredible. And, I just expected my dad to be like fawning all over what I had created. And my dad came out and probably said more than this, but this is what I heard. And some of this may be due to my own lens of feeling like I'm never good enough for my dad. In fact, I'm sure it has to do with that. But my dad came outside and I was sitting out back with one of my team members, grounding myself in the grass. And he walked over and he's like, wow, this is really something, huh? And I don't know. I think some people might've taken that as a compliment. Maybe people who weren't seeking approval from their dad as much as I do, although I think we're all seeking approval from our parents. But the way I experienced it was like, oh, that's it. Like, I've busted my ass for 3 years. My wife and I have created all this. We're helping all these people. Nobody even knows who I am, but they're here to hear what I have to say. Like all this inner dialogue. And like, that's all you can say is like, this is really something. And so, I remember thinking at that time, like, gosh, like my dad's a real asshole. And once I got through the event and I had time to process it, I realized, oh, I'm the asshole. Like my dad came all the way from Las Vegas to Orlando, Florida. It's not something he would ordinarily do. Maybe other dads would, but kind of getting my dad to get up and move and come see me required a conversation. And he came out and acknowledged like that the event was really something, but it wasn't enough for me. And so after that, I realized I held resentments for my dad. I could have known it beforehand, but it was so clear and in front of my face that like I was bringing weapons to a battle with my dad, and the battle didn't even really exist. And I was putting so much time and energy into it. And about 2 or 3 years later, and I've shared about this in other episodes, I had like, I don't know, my 5th midlife crisis. I had a breakdown as our business was going through a pivot and as my wife was pregnant with Gabriel, our son. And I was having some continued incessant nagging, not serious, but nagging health challenges. I had a breakdown. And after that breakdown, I realized I needed to get back into working my 12-step program. I wasn't drinking. I wasn't drugging. I wasn't sexing. But I felt like my life had really become unmanageable again. And the last time my life was unmanageable, back in 2009, 2010, I found peace and serenity in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, because I turned over those things that I couldn't control in my life to my higher power, God. And at this point in 2021, there was a lot of shit that I was trying to control that was not mine to control. So I went back and I started working the 12 steps, and I used that technology, which is an amazing technology that I wish was available to everybody. In fact, it's one of the motivations for us creating our whole human framework program is to give that type of technology to everyone, because we're all addicted in some way, shape, or form. We're all addicted to the mind, and we're addicted to worrying. We're addicted to overwhelm, and we're addicted to not feeling like we're good enough. I went back and I worked the steps around my chronic addiction to worry. And as I got to the 4th step, where I started inventorying my resentments, which isn't really a thing that happens in personal growth. Like I've been to a lot of events. Maybe you've been to a bunch of events. There isn't an inventory of your resentments. There's a lot of focus around limiting beliefs and working through our limiting beliefs, like, money's hard to make, or I'm not good enough, or there's not enough time, or, other people are capable of great things, but I'm not capable of great things. But like resentments, I really got introduced to in a deep way through the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And so I was working a 4th step, which is the inventory of resentments. And I realized, oh my God, I have a lot of resentments around my dad and my mom. But today's conversation is around my dad. And as I started writing out my resentments, like all the inner dialogue I had around my dad, I realized, oh my God, here's this whole treasure trove of limiting beliefs. And they were specifically the ones that I had had a hard time letting go of in personal growth. They were the ones like there was something wrong with me, or I have to convince others that I'm right in order to earn their love, or I have to be successful in order to be approved and loved, and I need to be right, and I needed to win arguments, and all this stuff that required so much energy to maintain in order to, I don't know, avoid the really painful feelings of like personal insecurity. It was always everyone else's fault. And I built up this whole structure of kind of propping myself up to be loved. And so as I'm working the 4th and 5th step in Alcoholics Anonymous, I really spent a lot of time looking at these beliefs and using a lot of the tools that I talk about on other episodes or that I share in my book to start working with them and really seeing that they weren't true. Like none of these beliefs I had about myself in relationship to my resentment with my father were true. None of the beliefs that I had about my dad were true. You know, like one of the beliefs I had was that he should have loved me more or loved me differently or been there more for me. And like, that's not true. I mean, my dad loved me as much as he was capable of. Someone might look at it from the outside in and see some gap or absence of love that he could have given me, but he gave me 100% of what he was capable of based on his emotional intelligence, based on how he was raised, based on his limiting beliefs. You know, every single person gives us exactly what they can give us. Even when it's physical abuse or sexual abuse, you know, that's a trauma that someone gave to them that they didn't know how to process. And in order to let go of some of the burden, they passed it on to you. I'm not saying that these are things that we approve of or that we wish for anybody that we love, but we get exactly 100% of what people can give us. And that's it. Like no more, no less. And it just makes sense when you kind of step back and look at it. And my dad was not physically abusive. My dad was not sexually abusive. I wouldn't even say my dad was verbally abusive by the traditional sense. But I could see how there was a gap between what I wanted and needed as a child and what I got. Because what was true, again, was that my dad had a conditional love for me. And that's totally normal. Every single parent has a conditional love for their child, but I kept seeking this unconditional love, and I kept giving a meaning to the experience of not getting that unconditional love, that it must be me. It must be something wrong with me. And then building coping mechanisms to actually deal with that. So, and then as I got older, it formed into a resentment. So I really started to see this. And as I started to see what I would call the unintelligence of my resentment or my limiting beliefs around the resentment, I didn't even really have to like go find forgiveness. Like forgiveness was just there. There was nothing to forgive. There was nothing to resent. So as I mentioned, you know, Carol's pregnant. It's time for her to have the baby. We go into the hospital, and about 6 months before Carol gave birth to Gabriel, I don't know, on a whim, I saw this recommended book on Amazon about natural pregnancy. It was a book by a very famous midwife named Ida May. So I just picked up this book and I gave it to her. And Carol's didn't used to be an avid reader, but she just kept chipping away at this book. And she's like, hey, did you know that, you know, back in the day, women used to like walk and dance and sing while they were giving birth? I was like, no, I didn't know that. And then a few days later, she'd say, did you know that, you know, there was some doctor in England in the 1800s that started laying women down, but that makes the labor more painful? I was like, no, I didn't know that. And she's like, did you know that like 10 years after that is when they came up with these painkillers and the early forms of epidurals because the labor was so painful because they were laying down? I was like, no, I did not know that. And then she's like, do you know how much the pharmaceutical companies make off of epidurals? I was like, no, I did not know that. And so all of a sudden we got on this like natural birth trip, and we presented this birth plan to the OBGYN that we had selected. Now, we had selected this OBGYN because it was the doctor who gave birth to Carol's best friend's children. No other reason than that. And he seemed like a nice guy. But as soon as we presented this birth plan, like his whole attitude changed. And so Carol's water breaks and we have to go into the hospital, and it's like a Wednesday. And he says, well, we need to induce labor. And Carol and I had decided that wasn't part of the birth plan. And we said, well, why do we have to induce labor? He said, well, because I'm going on vacation Friday. And we're like, well, the baby's kind of coming on its own schedule, not because you have a trip to Miami. And so this is where the friction started with the doctor. And the friction continued, even though the doctor wasn't there this weekend, with most of the staff at the hospital. What we didn't realize at that time was like the hospital had their birth plan and we had our birth plan, and those were two very different things. And so, over the course of the weekend, I'm like doing all this research on Google because, they're wanting to start using medication to induce Carol. And I read that, they can actually do some other things to induce labor that are more natural. And so we suggest that to them. And they said, yes, well, we can do that. And so one of them was manually catalyzing Carol's water to break because it hadn't fully broken when we went into the hospital. It was actually just a drop in her amniotic fluid. And then they said, well, listen, but in 24 hours, we have to induce Carol because she could get an infection as a result of us manually breaking her water. So like I'm getting on Google, I'm like, well, that's the old data from 1978 and the European studies are much different. They said we can wait up to 4 or 5 days. Like I'm a royal pain in the butt for this birth machine that is trying to take place at the hospital. But I'm taking responsibility for the experience that my wife is having and the experience that my unborn child is having. And so long story short, she's in pre-labor through the weekend and the doctor comes in after his weekend in Miami and he looks at Carol and he literally says, why is there still a baby in there? And I was like, well, because the baby has decided not to come yet and Carol's body has decided not to give birth to the baby yet. And so he starts getting very dramatic and very alarmist, but we broke her water like 36 hours ago. And I'm like, yes, but the European data. And then this is happening in front of Carol while she's starting to have more and more contractions. So I'm like, hey, doc, can we step outside? So we step outside in the hallway and he's so frustrated and angry and actually considering everything that's going on, like I'm pretty calm. And he's presenting an argument for like why we need to accelerate this process. And I'm like presenting a counterpoint of how like, that's not true based on the best data. And so he's getting even more heated and intense. I'm sort of maintaining my calm. He gets to a point where he says to me, literally yells at me in the hallway, why are you getting in the way of this birth process? So I sit there for a second and I'm like, oh, and I share with him what occurs for me, which maybe was not the best idea. But I was like, oh, you think I'm getting in the way of a birth process and I think I'm facilitating one. And I literally watched as he had a meltdown in front of me. Like you could see it in his face. He didn't know what to say. There were all kinds of emotions. He didn't know how to deal with it. And he clenched his fist and he turned around and he said, I have to get out of here. I was like, what do you mean you have to get out of here? Like we're having a baby. And he's like, I can't take this. I'm leaving. And so he leaves. He literally leaves our room. And for all I know, the hospital. Hopefully he went out in the car and had a good cry because there was something coming up for him that was very different than what was actually happening related to this birth process. Unfortunately, that morning, there was an emergency room nurse who was transitioned into our room as our primary nurse. And I came back in and she's like, look, everything's going to be fine. She's like, your plan is a good plan. They don't like your plan. Stick with it. We'll get through this. And we did. And we had a beautiful baby boy. After Gabriel was born, I walked outside. First of all, the doula who we had in the room came running up to me. She's like, I've never seen anything like that. Like the way that you took such a calm stand in the face of that aggression from the doctor. And I had this massive realization where I was like, oh my God, I was able to do that because I had just forgiven my dad. Because in any other ordinary circumstance, the doctor would have been my dad. And I would have been trying to convince him that I was right and that he was wrong so that I could be loved. But as a result of letting go of this resentment that I'd been carrying so long, I was able to just be in the space with this other person who has their own unprocessed trauma and their own resentments and their own programs. And I could just let their programs go and not get entangled with them. And in that, I was able to show up really powerfully for my family and also, maybe even create a space for the doctor to feel whatever he needed to feel. And after that incident, I realized, wow, like almost every single man that I'm interacting with, and also in many cases, women that I'm interacting with in my life, I'm not actually having a relationship or a conversation or an interaction with them. I'm having a relationship or a conversation or an interaction with a dad whose love I'm seeking. And so when I realized this, that like, wow, like we're all going through life trying to get love from people or trying to prove to people that we're worthy of being loved because we never got this unconditional love that we were seeking from our parents. It was so freeing. It was so unbelievably freeing because there's so much energy that is invested and exhausted in that deep unreality. I mean, think about it. Like you're going to get up today and you're going to have interactions with people, whether it's the barista at Starbucks or somebody at work or one of your employees. And a major component of that interaction is going to be a lens that you're not aware of that's compelling you to believe that you need to get love from this person because of places you didn't get love from your parents. And so when I saw this, it was so unbelievably freeing. And then even more so, I realized, and I've been sharing about this on other episodes, as I've been building a deeper relationship with my higher power. And for me, my higher power has become God, and it's a personal relationship. I realized that, oh my God, that love that I was seeking from my parents, that unconditional love, I was never meant to get it from my dad. There's only one place that I can get that unconditional love, and that is my higher power. That is with God. Because God is the only power that is. So God doesn't have to choose between, the time he spends with his children and going to work. God isn't, managing the friction of a relationship with his wife. God doesn't do those things, and God has infinite power. And so there is no gap in God's love for us or God's love for me. And so I realized, man, what a pressure I was putting on my dad. Like, I wanted my dad to be God, and he was never supposed to be. He was supposed to be this guy that I believe that I chose to come into the world through in order to have exactly the interactions that I had with him. Many of them were joyful. Some of them were painful, and it set me on my own destiny and my own hero's journey. But the unconditional love is supposed to come from my personal relationship with God. And so, the reason why I'm sharing this is I'm just encouraging you to take a look, because when you can literally let go of the resentments that you have for your mom or for your dad or for anyone, you open up this space where you deepen your personal relationship with your higher power, because there's now space to do that. It's not being filled with all these limiting beliefs and these unintelligent thoughts, and it all becomes so freeing. And this is very root cause. It's like, we get into personal growth because we want to be happier, because we want to make more money, because we want to discover our purpose, because we want to have better relationships or heal our body or achieve our goals. But those things are actually just byproducts of no longer wasting all of our energy on these illusions. And the biggest illusion that there is that our parents were supposed to be something for us that they weren't, and then holding on to that illusion through this bound energy of resentment. And if you can let go and let God, it's so freeing. And practically what you can do if you're picking up what I'm laying down here, and if you are, let me know in the comments, because I'm just saying this is my experience. This is what I've found. And now, I have such an incredible laboratory of human beings with all the coaching conversations and the events and the seminars that we get to do. And I get to see the breakthroughs for people. And one of the biggest levers right now that I'm seeing is trading in resentment for forgiveness as it relates to our parents. But practically what you can do if you like what you're hearing is to write out all the beliefs that come up around your parent that you feel like there's a resentment towards, or even if you just want to see if there's a resentment, and then use the tools from the show, or go download my ebook on our website, or go pick up my full book on Amazon, and let go of those beliefs, let go of that thinking. And it'll be amazing what you find. Number one, you'll find that you start showing up completely different in relationship, not only with your parents, but with everybody. And number two, you'll actually find that your parents will start showing up differently with you, because you're not putting this subconscious pressure on them to be your higher power. And then number three, what you'll find is all kinds of other miracles starting to emerge in your life as a result of now being able to have this energy go towards what you're wanting to create, rather than bound up in this destructive thinking and these negative emotions and this unproductive behavior. So I hope you loved the episode.
That was fantastic. Yes, that was a awesome bit of wisdom from David Bayer, and he's a great resource. And if you are listening live, if you check into my show page on kxfmradio.org, Wake Up Laguna, you can see David on my show page, the resource for David Bayer. He's got some fantastic resources, free resources on his website. He's got a fantastic YouTube channel, and that's where that track came from. But yes, some great wisdom there on love and forgiveness. I've got a meditation for you for forgiveness, love, in really kind of a focused way, and I want to share that with you right after we play a couple little promotional spots. So let's get those promotional spots under our belts, and then I'll come right back with you, and we'll jump right into that meditation.
KXFM 1047, Laguna's Community Radio.
My name's Luella Arrows, and you can catch my show Dream Gaze Overtone Friday nights 5 to 7. We'll be grooving together to sounds of the underground, tunes with general behind-the-times beat, and heavy doses of reverb-laden ambiance. Dream Gaze Overtone Friday nights 5 to 7 on 104.7 KXFM Laguna Beach.
Hey, it's Zach from Portugal the Man, and you are listening to KXFM, Human Crafted Radio.
Join me, Chris Amadeo, on Vagabond Soul Radio, Wednesdays 8 to 10 p.m. on KXFM. It's a deep dive into the music and zeitgeist of the entire decade of the 70s. Join me, 8 to 10 p.m. Wednesdays on KXFM. Tune in, turn on.
Hi, this is Ben from Tiger's Jaw, and you're listening to KXFM.
All right, guys, let's get into that meditation that I talked about. You're listening to Wake Up Laguna. This is Rick Jorgensen, your host. And so I want to, if you're in a safe space, I want you to get comfortable and really take this meditation in. If you're driving in your car, that's fine. Just let it wash over you. Just listen to it, take it in, because there's going to be a tremendous amount of value for you with that as well. So let's get into this meditation, and we'll come right back right on the flip side.
Welcome. Please find a comfortable seated position in a quiet space, free of distractions. Begin by taking a couple of slow, mindful breaths. Relax your shoulders and gently close your eyes. Today's meditation will focus on the ethical virtue of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a powerful act of letting go. By letting go of the past, you free your heart from the weight of guilt, regret, and self-criticism, allowing room for growth and peace to flourish. By forgiving yourself, you are embracing your humanity and recognizing that your mistakes, challenges, and struggles are all part of the path that has shaped who you are today. Forgiveness isn't about erasing the past, but rather about transforming your relationship with it, allowing you to move forward unburdened by its hold. Where you are is exactly where you're meant to be, and you are doing your best. To truly forgive yourself, you must embrace your humanness, this human experience you get to go through in this lifetime. This means accepting that mistakes, missteps, and imperfections are part of being human, and they don't define your worth. Forgiveness doesn't mean ignoring your role in past actions, but rather taking responsibility for them, learning from them, and releasing the harsh judgments you hold against yourself. It's an acknowledgement that without those experiences, you wouldn't have the wisdom or resilience you have today. So with this in mind, let's take a deep breath in. Pause for a moment. And slowly exhale. Notice the slight gentle movement of your body as you breathe in and out. The slight expansion of your chest, your ribs moving outward, expanding, and then retracting back to center. Feel the belly rise and fall as you breathe. The gentle sway of your shoulders as you inhale, and then slowly exhale. Releasing any tension in your body, feeling the muscles let go, relax, and anchor in your stillness as you exhale. As you settle into the stillness, offer yourself forgiveness for any stress or tension you may be holding, knowing it's okay to let go. Inhale. And exhale. Now let's welcome today's mantra. I forgive you. I forgive you. When the mind begins to wander today, gently observe each thought as it arises, acknowledging it without attachment and without judgment. Visualize the thought dissolving like mist touched by the morning sun, softly fading away into nothingness. As the thought disappears, offer yourself forgiveness for the distraction, understanding that wandering is natural. With compassion, allow the thought to vanish and return your awareness to the present moment, to your breath, to your stillness. See each thought appear and then forgive its presence and let it gracefully fade, returning again to the peaceful space of presence and clarity, fully anchored in the now. Repeating the mantra to yourself and embracing the emotions and energy that may arise with love and acceptance. I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. And now, silently in your mind, It's time to release the mantra. Gently bring your awareness back to your body. When you're ready, take a deep breath. And as you exhale, slowly open your eyes. As you continue with the rest of your day, try to integrate the practice of forgiveness. And remember that forgiveness gives you a powerful opportunity to reclaim your emotional freedom in order to cultivate a deeper connection with yourself and your fundamental worth. Namaste.
Namaste indeed. I want to invite you to try something today. I want you to take a moment to, at some point in your day, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and think of someone or something you need to forgive. And picture the situation wrapped in a golden light of love and say, I forgive you, I release you, I set myself free. Do this daily if you need to, and over time you're going to really notice how much lighter your heart feels. It's a powerful exercise. I've got a real special guest for you coming up in the next hour. I'm going to play us into the hour with Lee Harris's Hold On to Now, and I'll see you on the flip side, right here on Wake Up Laguna on KXFM.
Way out in the way out, stars keep on trying to shine, and there's a lonely heartbeat beating like mine, wondering why. Some moments are magic, some are only tripping the line, and every word we're hearing sounds like goodbye. But we've got the night. Baby, what are we holding on to? Baby, where do we want to run to? Oh, figure it out somehow. Keep holding on to now. Dreaming we'll be dancing forever, floating on this feeling together. Yeah, figure it out somehow. Keep holding on to now. Can you just imagine magic taking control, and every second's yours to have and to hold, shining like gold. Baby, what are we holding on to? Baby, where do we want to run to? Oh, we'll figure it out somehow. Keep holding on to now. Dreaming we'll be dancing forever, floating on this feeling together. Yeah, we'll figure it out somehow. tonight.
KXRN LP, Laguna Niguel, Laguna Beach. KXFM on 104.7, KXFMradio.org.
Hey there, what's up, Laguna? I'm Janice Murray with news. Let's welcome home our 6 firefighters and 2 Laguna Beach engines, which helped fight the LA fires. All worked 24-hour shifts alongside their Los Angeles partners in the Pacific Palisades fire. Deployed to LA for a week and a half with other firefighters from around the state, they were welcomed home by a surprise event of thanks at our fire station number 2. Mayor Alex Runagi welcomed the 6 firefighters home, saying, "We are deeply proud of their bravery and selflessness." And I'm Janice Murray with news on 104.7 KXFM.
Tune in, turn on to KXFM 104.7, Laguna's community radio.
Hi, this is KXFM meteorologist Dave Murray. Overall quiet times with our weather, the vegetation, and especially the birds. Very happy after the weekend rain. A slow warming trend through the weekend, but the key word is slow. On this Wednesday, enjoy plenty of sunshine, partly to mostly sunny skies. 57 at the beach, 59 the mountaintop, the canyon 57. Tonight, some clouds around 45. Thursday, clouds in the morning giving way to sunshine. Thursday afternoon, 57. Friday, sunny and 59. Sunset at 5:19. Ocean temperatures are chilly, 57. That's my forecast. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray. Tune in, turn on to KXFM 104.7, Laguna's community radio.
Hey, good morning, Laguna. You are listening to Wake Up Laguna. I'm your host, Rick Jorgensen, and I'm excited to be here as always today. Had a great first hour. I am really excited about my second hour. I've got a very special guest, Emma Ray Youngman. And Emma has a program that she calls the Energy Alignment Method. She's aligning both inner and outer, so body and spiritual, into one, identifying areas that are challenging you, finding areas that are out of alignment. And I think no matter how far down the path we all are on our own personal transformations and spiritual journeys, there certainly is always something that's a bit out of alignment, or maybe even way out of alignment. And Emma has a unique gift of being able to help people bring all of that back into where it should be. So I think without further ado, I'm going to bring Emma in, and I hope you enjoy this interview as much as I enjoyed having Emma as part of it. I did record this a couple of days ago, only because Emma is in Australia, and right now, if we were to have had her on live, right now in Australia, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, a little after 3 o'clock in the morning. So I didn't want to have to do that to her. So I said, let's pre-record it, and then I'll just plug it in. But enjoy this, and then we'll be back, talk a little bit more about Emma and her work and some ways that you can interact with her. So thanks again for listening. Wake Up Laguna, right here on KXFM. And I'll see you on the flip side.
Emma, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's great. And like I told my listeners, Emma and I know one another. We met, I don't know how long ago it's been now. It's been a number of months ago through Facebook, and we connected. And I immediately resonated with Emma's message and what she was putting out there into the community. So I am really happy to have Emma on the show today, and am very supportive of what you're doing with your alignment therapy. Yay.
Yes, thank you. And this has come at a really good time, because I'm sure you can relate to this, and I'm sure a lot of people in the spiritual community who want to become some kind of practitioner to help others, I'm sure they can relate to this too, is that when you have a message that you want to get out there, sometimes you feel like you're sharing it, but nobody's picking it up. And you start to think, oh, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? And it's these moments for me that really keep me going.
Yes,
know
absolutely.
that, there are people out there that align with what I'm saying. And, we're both on that same path.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though I gave you a bit of an introduction leading up to this point, Emma, I think it would be helpful for the listeners to really get a sense of who you are and a little bit about your background and what led you up to this point today.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my background is remedial massage and personal training. And I've always worked with physios and chiropractors. So I grew up in my career sense in a very clinical way. And I dealt a lot with, pain management, people who were in kind of chronic pain or, just had those niggles. They had old injuries. Maybe they'd had surgeries like hip and knee replacements. And I looked at the body in a very structural way. This was before my spiritual awakening.
Sure.
And, so that was how I worked with the body on that physical level. I'd do the remedial massage to release those overloaded tissues. And then I would prescribe the corrective exercises to correct the movement patterns. Now, I had a lot of success with a lot of people, but the people who I didn't have success with was really the ones who, no matter how many tools you gave them, and I gave them a lot, my philosophy has always been to share that knowledge and to educate my clients so that they can take that and they don't need me anymore at some point,
Sure.
So I really like to give as much value as I possibly can so that they can help themselves. But I found the people who never really made any progress were the ones who weren't helping themselves, right? They weren't doing the homework that I gave them. They weren't listening to those extra bits of advice. And they were also the same people that would come in every week or every month and say, I just don't understand why I'm not getting better. Why me? I've tried everything. And as a practitioner, it's very frustrating because you've poured your heart and soul into trying to help this person, and you can see that they're just not getting it. They're not getting what they need to do. So that led me on the next stage of my journey. Around this time, I was going through my own spiritual awakening, and I guess I saw myself mirrored in these clients because I was looking at all of the ways that I wasn't taking care of myself and all the things that I wished I had in my life. And, I wanted all of this adventure and excitement. And yet I would come home every day and binge watch TV for 6 hours,
Sure.
So I really started to think about, firstly, I needed to create that change within myself. But the first hurdle I came across is that I was really tired. I was exhausted, and it was hard to make change when you're coming from that kind of energetic level. So then I learned how to cultivate that energy, with small steps and consistency, and doing my internal work and, opting to go for a walk or sit in the sun and instead of watching TV, and do art projects and all of that stuff. And then I shared that with my clients, right? I shared that if you do all of that, you make these little changes and you do all of these things. And again, I hit the same problem, is that there were people that just weren't making those changes. They weren't implementing the steps. And this is when I had the very hard realization that you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make it drink. And I fully accept now that, I can't force anyone to be ready. I can only be there when they are. But the one thing that I truly believe that I can offer to help anyone is to help you get your energy levels into that higher vibration, higher frequency. Because in order to create any change in life, we need the energy to do it. As I said before, coming from a place of exhaustion, you are fighting an uphill battle. And it is hard, unfortunately. There are a lot of systems in place in our modern day world that don't make it easy for us to be disciplined. We're bombarded with unethical marketing and addictive screens and addictive food. And it's hard because we have to really discipline ourselves to step back from that and choose another direction.
Yes.
I do truly believe that to even begin to do that, it's all about cultivating that internal energy to help get yourself out of these cycles. And this is where I created alignment therapy. So the basis, in short, is really creating a profile of who our fulfilled future self is. That self that is the happiest, the healthiest, they love their career, they spend their spare time doing all of these hobbies, and whatever your fulfilled future self looks like. First, understanding who that person is, getting in touch with them, and then feeling where your energetic body is not currently aligned with that outcome, and then doing that internal work in order to align yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I loved, when I listened, I obviously I had listened to your Facebook Live broadcast, and it was very compelling, it was very well done. And I love the idea of aligning with our fulfilled future self, right? Because I think at some point, many of us kind of write down, I physically wrote out what my ideal fulfilled future self looks like, right? I did it kind of like as a day in the life, right? What's my ideal day, right? But I also was very careful of making sure that I was putting feelings in, right? Feelings. It wasn't just, I'm sitting here with, millions of dollars in the bank, and and I've got a Ferrari sitting out front. I was putting in the kind of the feeling moments of that day. And I go back constantly. I do it every day. I have it, here on my screen. I can just pull it up, and I just read through it every day, because I kind of want to remind myself, this is where I'm headed. This is what I'm going to be. This is how I'm going to feel, right? And I think that's important in that alignment process when you talk about, living in alignment. And I think, was it something that you said in that presentation? I am abundant, I am connected, I am limitless. Did I get that from you? Or did I make that up myself?
You made that up yourself, or maybe you heard it somewhere else. But I did something because at the end of that presentation, where I was kind of introducing what living in alignment is,
right,
I gave an exercise.
Yes.
And that exercise is connecting in with each energy center.
Right.
So for those of your listeners who know what the chakras are,
yes.
Obviously our main 7 energy centers that run through that midline of our body.
Yes.
And so it's all about coming in, like connecting in with each center and saying the statement, I am living in alignment. Because what will happen as you say this statement, and first you need to do what you've done, you need to create that profile so that you've got that in your mind of that's where I want to go to. As you say each statement in each energy center, you're going to get some kind of sensations. And those sensations will really give you a lot of information of where you're not living in alignment. Now, as you and I know, and hopefully many of the listeners know, each energy center corresponds with different things, right? Our root is all about that stability and safety, and it's our connection with the physical world. And then you go up into the sacral, and that's creativity and fluidity, the ability to be malleable and change as, hurdles come up in our life, and so on and so on. So if you know what each energy center governs, right? And then you're saying this statement, I am living in alignment, and you're not getting this beautiful, warm, tingly rush, right? Which is really a sign of that energetic alignment with this future, fulfilled future self that you're connecting to. If you can feel that there is minimal sensation there, maybe there's no sensation there, maybe you get like a sinking feeling instead of a rising feeling. So utilizing that, you can really start to discern, what internal work do I need to do to bring myself into alignment with this fulfilled future self. And the whole idea of alignment therapy is that we want to, as much as possible, be energetically aligned to this fulfilled version of ourselves. So the only thing that's stopping us from doing that is our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, right?
Sure.
So that internal energetic alignment allows us to then think the way that we need to think, feel the way that we need to feel, and of course then make the choices and take the action that will take us to that future.
Sure. So thinking about it from a spiritual perspective, because obviously my show, Wake Up Laguna, is all about awakening. And most of what my listeners are thinking about doing is where they're at in their process and what do I need to do to further my path, grow spiritually. But I think what I love about the alignment therapy that you're doing within your program is it really is enhancing that part of our journey that really connects us deeply with certainly our chakras, but also it just creates, I think, a connectivity between body and spirit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And maybe we've jumped ahead of ourselves here a little bit because I don't know. I want to make sure that for the listener, they're listening about alignment therapy, and then we're getting the chakras, and it's like, have we really told them? I mean, I told them a little bit up front, but have we really told them? Somebody walks in the door, they have no idea what alignment therapy is. Two things. One, how do you describe it? Just kind of in a brief, elevator pitch overview. What's alignment therapy? And then how does it differ from other healing modalities?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question because now you're challenging me to really simplify it. I like that. If someone were to just walk in my door and have no idea what any of this was about, in short, I would say it's a way of connecting with yourself on such a deep level that you are so open and honest about what is going on inside of you that you can identify what is currently holding you back from where you want to go, and then rewire and reframe those neural pathways so that gets our thoughts and our feelings going in the right direction. And that, of course, then has that snowball effect onto our actions and our choices, right? So those 3 steps, I think, are important to go from, maybe sitting in your chair at home, watching TV every night, feeling depressed and unsatisfied with your life, to being that person that's like up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday for a hike and, has a great social life and whatever it is you want.
Sure. So, yeah, that's great. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And when I ask, how does it differ from other healing modalities? And maybe, rather than just throw out that general statement, and not that I'm not looking to, compare and contrast. I'm not looking to say one is better than the other, because I think every healing modality has its purpose. For instance, if we take a look at Reiki, and a Reiki healer and what they do within the body and what they do within the chakras. From your standpoint, are there similarities, differences? How do you address that?
Yeah, so I guess the main difference in terms of how I work with people is whether I'm going to be seeing them in person or whether it's an online session. Because obviously if it's an online session, I can't physically touch someone, right? Right. Or even do that energy work. I've never done energy work through technology. I know some Reiki healers do that. It's not something that I've tried to do yet. Maybe I will. But I think generally alignment therapy, the way it differs to other things is that it's really about you doing the work, right? I can guide you, but I always say this, it's the more that you can surrender to it, the quicker you will make progress. Because that was my experience with my own spiritual awakening, is that it was happening very rapidly for me, and that can be confronting because remember, we literally have to take accountability for everything. We have to take accountability for all the things that we're not happy with and stop blaming anyone else, any circumstance. And that is a very, very scary thing for a lot of people. But I think the aim of alignment therapy is really to make you confront that right at the beginning, like head on, because you have to do that. That is literally the first step, because you just can't make that progress otherwise. You need to be able to identify, and you can't identify without being very, very honest with yourself. So I think they really have to step in to their personal power on day one. Whereas, when you're doing energy work on someone, when I do energy work sessions with people, we always sit and we discuss first. And again, the more open they can be with me, the better. When I do the energy clearing for them, right, which I'll often do with people who are maybe very new to this and they've not yet learned how to connect with that. And I do find that being able to shift for them and get them to even feel those sensations can be a really helpful step, right? But even then I explain to them, like, this clearing is only going to be temporary. You have to address what has caused things to be blocked or, unbalanced in the first place. Yeah. And I explain this, like, just like the physical body, I can massage someone who's got a tight lower back, but then if they go away and don't do their exercises, their back is going to get tight again because of the biomechanical patterns that they have that causes that lower back to be loaded all the time. And it's exactly the same for our energetic body. If you're repeating the thoughts and beliefs, if you're, getting triggered all of the time and you're not stopping to think, oh, hang on, I'm getting triggered, change course of action, it will build up in your energy body just as it does with the physical.
Sure. Who, and we kind of started to go in this direction a little bit as in what you were just talking about, but who is this program designed for?
When I was creating this program, I was doing some online business coaching at the time, and they were like, you've got to niche down. And I didn't just want to work with women, so then I was like, okay, well, I guess I need to target this to a particular age bracket, and ended up going with, millennials. So, people, I'm 28, but pretty much like 25 to 45, that kind of age bracket, because I thought they'd probably relate a little bit more to where I'm at in my life. I don't have children yet, things like that. But having said that, I've got my 65-year-old mother doing my program and doing some alignment sessions with me. She's currently visiting from the UK. And the first alignment session we did was so beautiful And she got up afterwards and she said, I feel like I've just met myself for the first time.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It was like, to have been able to gift that to my own mother was so magical. But to answer your question, Rick, I know we're not supposed to say, oh, well, it's for everybody, but it is. I really do believe it's for anyone who's seeking that path. Yeah.
But I think that's key. I think what you just said is key, is seeking their path, because I think if an individual isn't open up to understanding energies and understanding the spiritual aspect of themselves, right? And how that spiritual world and their physical world play together, then this probably isn't going to work for them, right? I mean, they're not going to go all of a sudden, you're not going to, well, it could, you start working with them and all of a sudden they begin to awaken. But I it's kind of like, as I work with individuals on a coaching basis, I'm not looking to convince somebody that, I'm not looking to wake somebody up. I'm working with people that have already have that awareness, right? And wherever they're at in the path, it could be just yesterday, they all of a sudden, the light bulb went off and they looked around and they said, wait a minute, there's something more here than what I just see on the TV screen. Aha, okay. So I think from that standpoint, certainly you're looking for people, or people are seeking you out that are on that awakening path, right? And they are recognizing the fact that that their need for alignment. I mean, I can't imagine. I suppose there are individuals where you go, okay, all 7 energy centers absolutely aligned, right on, good for you. But that's going to be tiny little percentage of individuals, right? Most of us, it's like, we got a lot of work to do. So it's identifying, I think, right? It's identifying, and I think is it as simple as what you described before, where again, if I'm, feeling in each one of my energy centers, each one of those 7, if I'm feeling, am I in alignment, and I'm getting a feeling that I'm not, then I know that's where the work needs to be, right?
Yeah.
Do you have an alignment machine that you can just scan over somebody and go, oh, there it is, there's a problem? Doesn't work that way.
Maybe one day with the way AI is going, hey.
Who knows?
But no, like this is the thing, and this is, I suppose, what a lot of people, it's a hurdle that they have to get over. And I found the same when I was working on people with their physical body, and it was purely structural and clinical, is that it's a full-time job, right? This isn't like, oh, we'll do 6 sessions and then for the rest of your life, you're going to be aligned to your fulfilled future self. Like even myself, I do this on myself generally about once a week. I will check in and see where I'm at. And when I can feel blockages, I will ask, how can I become more aligned here? And I will receive messages in, and it could be anything. Like the other day, my sacral wasn't feeling right. And so I asked, and I just got the message, like your small intestine, right? Which I actually don't know a whole lot about meridians. It's something that I want to start researching because I'm now realizing how important they are. But I did some research on the small intestine meridian. I worked on those points. It kind of started up here, down the neck, down the back of the arm. And then I was getting just this crazy release, like my tricep was going like that. And probably for about 5 minutes was just having this whole release down my side. And then I checked in again and got a totally different feeling from my sacral. So I guess something that I can help with in a one-on-one capacity is helping people connect into that level of being able to hear their own messages and decipher what they mean, right? Because I only know how to do this because of my years and years of spiritual practice and deep meditation.
Sure.
But perhaps people haven't gotten that far in their journey yet. So it's that guidance and nurturing, and no, you're not crazy when you hear something or you see a color or get a feeling that you have to go and walk to that end of the room. Like, you've got to follow that, right?
Yes. Yeah. Is there, do you see any common misalignments with clients? Is there anything that there's a common?
That's a good question. I think for a lot of people, the third eye tends to have some issues, and that's all about our our insight, but also our ability to perceive in many different ways. So I find that people who are very rigid in their views tend to struggle to connect with their third eye because they only see things from their perspective.
Right.
Again, that's an avenue that you want to work on, is being able to step outside of you and look at something from not just the other person's perspective, but from a complete outside 30s perspective, from God's perspective, from a child's perspective. Like, I truly believe the more we can expand and look at things from all angles, that highly evolves our way of thinking.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. How does the alignment therapy integrate the mind-body connection? How does that kind of work together?
I love this question. So part of my 9-week online course, there is a 2-week period that completely focuses on connecting with your physical body, right? So the earlier stages are more about connecting with yourself as like your mind and your spirit. And then we come back into the physical body because, as we know, a lot of people are maybe not at the physical fitness and health that they would like to be. They're not as strong as they'd like to be. Their weight is higher, whatever that is. And so that's why I like to build that internal energy first with the spirit and then bring that connection in. And I really hone in with people that, this body is your one true home, right? You can move house 20 times, 30 times in your life, but you will always live in your body. And we forget that sometimes, and we can ignore it and we can abuse it. And particularly, having worked with people in that physical sense for such a long time, it's amazing how many people just ignore all of the messages, because we are constantly receiving messages from our body.
Sure.
But we'll fill it with painkillers and we'll tell it to shut up because we're busy, we've got to do work, I don't have time to deal with this back pain. And it will get louder and louder and louder until you finally have to listen. So when we connect in with that physical side, it's honoring the fact that your body is actually trying to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And we've got this like way that we look at pain like it's this bad thing and we have to avoid it, and we get annoyed. And people will literally say things like, oh, this stupid elbow is acting up again. And I have to say to them, your beautiful elbow is letting you know that something is wrong. Something you're doing is causing problems there. It's letting you know that you need to change your course of action. So that stage in the program is all about like really giving your body love. And we do like a loving self practice, because if you treat your body like your best friend, you will realize that it absolutely is, and that it wants you to be optimized. So you have to do your part and optimize yourself, and then you will live in harmony with your body, instead
Sure.
of being annoyed
Sure.
at it all the time.
Yeah, totally. Um, a couple of things on practical application. Are there any lifestyle changes that can support long-term alignment and well-being from your perspective?
Oh, of course, of course. But I do just want to preface it with saying, I worked obviously so long with people trying to get themselves to exercise or to change their diet. And when you haven't cleared out that energy and you're stuck in this lower density of energy, like it is always going to feel hard. It's always going to feel like you're sacrificing something to do it. So firstly, it's really about wanting to do it because you love your body so much that you want to do those things for it. Doesn't mean it's not hard. And, when your alarm goes off in the morning and you've planned to go for a run, sure, some mornings you're going to wake up and think, oh man, but instead of saying, I can't be bothered today, you go, no, I'm choosing this because I love myself deeply. So I just wanted to preface it with that. But yeah, absolutely. Reconnecting with movement, because I just think so many people don't get enough movement. Our society has been set up in a way where it allows us to be very sedentary. Everything is convenient for us. We have cars. I mean, even now since COVID, all these office workers are doing Zoom meetings and they're not even getting to walk between meeting rooms anymore. So they've become more sedentary. And just on a little side note, I think this is a way that AI is going to really help office workers in the long run. I know we're not there yet, but I'm visualizing, when you see in like sci-fi movies or something, they're on board a spaceship and they've just got these big holographic screens that are computers.
Right. Sure.
And they're up and they're moving around and swiping things across the screen. And that's what I see in the future for people who do need to be connected to a piece of, technological equipment in order to do their job. But they're not going to be chained to this desk and chair. So that's something that I'm really excited for. And I hope we get to see within the next, 10, 15 years, hopefully.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask you about the future of alignment therapy evolving, but you kind of just answered what that could end up being, which would be really, really cool. I do have more answers on where I would evolve it to. Something that I will breach into, maybe next year, is I'd like to actually do like relationship alignment therapy as well. Right. And working with couples on being able to align their futures together. That's something that's been on my mind from day one when I first created it. So, yeah. Are there any simple alignment techniques our listeners can try at home? Just themselves, any kind of technique that you would suggest?
I think the most simple one, where you don't even have to know about the chakras and the energy centers, is like exactly what you did, Rick. I do this with a lot of people, is write down like a journal entry of a day in the life of your most fulfilled day. And just as you said, it's not about like, oh, I wake up in my mansion and then, my servant brings me breakfast and then I jump in my Lamborghini. It's about, all the feelings that you would have and the qualities, like the things that you hold in very high value that would leave you feeling very fulfilled. Right. Write down that journal entry and then sit and close your eyes and visualize it and put yourself there and feel those feelings. That is the quickest and most simple way to connect to that fulfilled future self. And I do think it immediately starts creating a bit of a blueprint for you on how to get there.
That's awesome. Emma, thank you so much for spending the time with us this morning on Wake Up Laguna. I really appreciate it. And I'll make sure all of your contact information is below in my show notes. And anybody who wants to reach out to you, all of that information will be there. And I'll also have information on your new alignment therapy program that people could take advantage of as well. But again, thank you so much, Emma. It was awesome spending the time with you.
Thank you for the opportunity to come on and talk about this.
Sure.
It's been an absolute pleasure and wonderful to speak to you again, Rick, because it's been a while since we had a proper catch up.
Absolutely. Thank you again so much, Emma.
Thank
Talk
you.
soon.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye-bye.
That was a very special interview. She is a beautiful soul, and I think just is contributing so much to personal growth, spiritual growth out in the world with her program, her alignment therapy program. And that is a 9-week program, by the way, that she offers. I will have the links to that in my show notes. She is offering my listeners, you guys, she is offering quite a big discount on that 9-week program, which I will have for you, like I said, in my show notes below. So, and you can find, obviously, all the information either on my show page, which is at kxfmradio.org, or you can also find it on my YouTube channel, which is Rick Jorgensen Awakening. But that link is also on my KXFM show page, so you can get that there as well. So as we move on, I've got some quick promo spots for you. Then I'm going to come back with a beautiful transmission meditation for grounding and healing from my good friend, Katie Horton. So let's jump into those promos, and I'll be right back with you.
I'm Dr. Bob, KXFM, Saturday mornings. I'm the curator of rock and roll from 1950s and 1960s. Rockin' with the Doc, 7 to 10 a.m. Saturday mornings. 104.7 Laguna's Community Radio. Tune in, turn on, keep rocking.
Greetings, friends and neighbors. George Dubin with you. I'm your host for Art Matters on Tuesdays at 1 p.m., where myself and my learned guests talk about the issues facing our creative community here in the Art Colony. So please tune in to KXFM 104.7 at 1 p.m. on Tuesdays. And remember, friends, the soul and vitality of any community is often measured by how they treat their creatives.
Hey now, Billy Freed here, Executive Director of the nonprofit known as KXFM Radio, member supported. Did you know that we have over 80 people who do shows on our station, who volunteer their time to make great radio for you, our listener? That's quite something, isn't it? Do you know of any business where 80 people will work for free because they love it so much, because of their connection to that microphone that sends out that magic into the ether and into your ears? 80 shows on the all-new KXFM 104.7 Laguna's Community Radio. Tune in. You're going to turn on.
You are listening to Wake Up Laguna with me, Rick Jorgensen. It's been a real pleasure today. I've got a couple more things for you before we wrap up here in the next 15 minutes. I've got a transmission that I want to play for you right now, meditation transmission. If you're in a safe space, get comfortable and just let this wash over you. I'll be right back at you on the flip side.
All right, so closing down the eyes, I want you to tune into your body. Feel into wherever you are, grounded, sitting, lying down, letting yourself feel into this space with your body on the earth, on the chair, on the bed, feeling the depth of your body as it sinks in to wherever you are right now. I want you to now imagine, whether your feet are planted or you're lying down, imagining that there is this beautiful, vibrant, emerald green energy moving up from the soles of your feet, on both feet, 2 cords of light. This energy is the energy of love for Mama Earth. She is sending this energy up into your feet to warm your body, to ground your body, to heal your body. Let yourself receive these energies moving up your feet, up your ankles, your shins, your calves, your kneecaps, your thighs, your quads, all the way up until this beautiful energy makes its way to your roots. And as it makes its way to your roots, feel the warmth as this beautiful green emerald energy of love from Mama Earth grounds you deeper to where you are. And just allow this energy to move up your body. As slow as you want it to be, let it guide up your body, your stomach, all throughout your limbs. This energy seeping into your organs, seeping into your cells, your DNA, activating you and healing you with this beautiful grounding energy. So just let it move up your body and soak this in as it moves throughout. Itikiampro kiante, akiante kia koroso kiampo, akianta kia, shata kia toko, atiante, anti akianta kia, shata kia ontoto, anti amporoso kiante, akiante, atiantoko, shuto kiantoko, akiante, akianta saki, utoriki, anta kiante, shutori kiande, handari. Untokianta, shakiante, atakiante. Now imagining and seeing this beautiful emerald energy, not only in your body, but outside of you in the form of a spiral. Mama Earth is spiraling this energy up your spinal cord and outside of your physical body, sending you this beautiful protection light, frequency of love, of joy, of groundedness, of connection to this planet. Let yourself just be encompassed in this spiral of light. Again, you do not need to do anything. You just need to feel this energy as it moves around and in your body. Unto kianta, shakiantoko, shuto kiamporsiante, akiante, akiante, akianta sakiantoko, hanta kiante, siti kiantoko, shuto kiantakia, sakiamporsikianta, anta kiantakia, shantaki, sunto kiante kia, sata kiande, kiande, ande. Sutori kiante, akiante, antoko, shunto kianti, ankianti, antakia koko, shunto ko antakia, shantakia toko, hantaki. Now, as you imagine this beautiful emerald energy as it spirals around you, imagine it moving up above your head until it forms right at the top of your head. That coil turns back into a cord of light. And that beautiful grounded emerald green energy shoots up from your head, from your crown, up to the cosmos up above you. Feeling this beautiful connection between Mama Earth and the spiritual realm, the cosmos, where your soul comes from. Feeling that beautiful connection, knowing you are both grounded in this planet and into the cosmos, the stars up above you. Letting this energy just again seep within you. Shutuki antakia, takia, shuntuki amprosiante, akiantaki antoro, akiantaki, atiakia, shutuki amprosiante, antaki, shunturiante, ande, ondoko, shuntoko, antakiante, sinteri, sikiantaki otoko, shutuki antakia, atakia toko, ashiki umpoko, akiankianta. We have the elementals here with us. You can feel this beautiful emerald energy now coming in through the walls, wherever you are, from the ceiling, the floor, just seeping into this space around you, allowing this emerald energy to now seep in through your skin, feeling the warmth of the skin that the elementals is now giving you, the fairies, these beautiful beings with us now. They're sending us this healing energy from Mama Earth. Letting yourself soak in these energies as you ground deeper into this place where you are. Again, knowing you are exactly where you need to be. There is no other place you need to be right now other than here. Grounding deeper, restoring balance and harmony within your being, of your masculine, your feminine energy within you. Letting your body regulate, letting your body heal. Your body is the intelligent source here that knows exactly how to heal. Shuntuki atakiontoko, shutukiontoko, antia sakiante, antakoya tukiampa sakianta, utoki, shitikianta, suturi ambaresiante, hansh, uturi, ateyande. Feeling this beautiful energy all within you. Now imagining in the center of your heart, this beautiful emerald energy makes its way to the center of your heart, where it amplifies right in the center there. Feeling the warmth of this energy of love, this beautiful 5D frequency, Mother Earth's energy, all the vibrant light energies in the center of your heart, feeling that warmth, feeling that love, that connection again between Mama Earth and the cosmos. You are the pillar of light here, helping heal this earth, helping heal your body, your DNA. Just letting yourself soak in this moment, feeling your heart pound and pump with this beautiful energy. It moves throughout the capillaries and your blood vessels, throughout your veins, throughout your whole body. Your heart is pumping this energy throughout, letting yourself soak in this beautiful 5D frequency of love. Utorki, Shantarionto, Shutukionto, Kiamparasianto, Ko, Antakiante, Sandare, Ondo, Utoro, Harande, Ari, Ande, Utorki, Shuntori, Amprasitia, Shakianto. We now have the beautiful spiritual realm, our guides, your ancestors, your angels, all these beautiful divine galactic beings up above us, looking down, protecting this very moment where you are, knowing that even though your home is on earth right now, they are also home. They are your brothers and sisters, your soul family, your guides watching over you, sending down this beautiful blue cosmic light, imagining this beautiful almost like aqua blue energy in the form of rain dripping down over you into your skin, letting yourself soak in these energies of more protection of this vibrant light that you are on this earth. Because your energy is sacred, we must protect it and keep it closed down. Allowing yourself to just be encompassed in this beautiful blue energy now. Still seeing that beautiful green energy in your heart that is moving throughout your entire body. Untoroshuko takiam poko kakiam porsian takia atakia atokio tsukuku shakium poko antekiante suntori ande suntani ande amoro shankoro sakiam porsiante. Now starting to tune back into the space now, feeling wherever you are, seated or lying down, let your body re-enter this space, come back to this very moment. You can, whenever it feels good, open your eyes, attune back to your physical senses, looking around slowly, letting your body regulate back into this space. And whenever it feels good, you can come back. Remember to take a lot of deep breaths today. Move this energy through your body. Allow yourself to drink a lot of water as well to help move the energy, because we've just moved a lot of energy today. And yeah, I thank you so much for being here and for...
Love and forgiveness are the keys to awakening, and they're gifts we can give ourselves at any moment. So remember, the more we live in love, the more love we create in the world. Thank you for tuning in to Wake Up Laguna. I'm Rick Jorgensen, and if this segment resonated with you, share it with someone who needs a little light today. Until next time, stay awake, stay kind, and stay connected to your heart.